It's been said that time is the most precious commodity and the most wasted. If you were truly honest with yourself, how much time would you find that you've wasted? Perhaps it's human nature to constantly look towards the future, forgetting how great a gift each moment truly is. And if there really is no promise of tomorrow, how important is today? For patients diagnosed with breast cancer, each moment holds great value, but also great fear. The fear that the song that we all sing with our lives may not have been sung as passionately as we would have hoped. And in these fears, many questions can arise. Why me? What could I have done to protect myself? Will I have time? Jamie Inman is a 2-time breast cancer survivor and founder of StayInThePink.com. She has dedicated her life to awareness and prevention for victims of cancer and offering her experience as a way to help answer some of these questions.
I started Stay in the Pink after my second bout with breast cancer. 17 years ago, I found out I had breast cancer for the first time, and it was detected early by my doctor. And even though it was very upsetting and painful experience, I was able to have probably the least invasive procedure, which was a lumpectomy with radiation. So I recovered fairly rapidly and was able to just return to my life, finishing raising my kids, and just went on. And in the interim, I went way past the 5-year cured rate and went to school, became a trained psychotherapist, and that combined with my experience with cancer didn't come close to preparing me for how much this bout was going to turn my life upside down. I ended up getting it in the same breast. I had an elective bilateral mastectomy with reconstruction, had complications, and ended up having now a total of 7 surgeries. And that was the easy part. People find that surprising because it was a lot of surgery, but the hard part was the emotional damage that was done by it. So as a result of that experience and feeling underprepared by so-called experts, I started Stay in the Pink as a way to give back to women who would follow after me and see if I could inform them and educate them in a way that I could spare them some of the difficulties that I faced. Stay in the Pink began as me as a breast cancer survivor caring about people and wanting to get my story out as a way to encourage them so that they would know that there's life after breast cancer. But I soon realized as I had more and more contacts that my education in a master's program in marriage and family therapy and my experience as a licensed therapist began to add a dimension to the support that I was giving to people. And so as I began to draw on those extra attributes or skills, I began to see that Stay in the Pink could become more than just me telling my story, and it could become an advocacy organization. My heart is always with offering encouragement. I always want that to be part of what I do, no matter what aspect of my business that I am emphasizing, because I want people who are touched by breast cancer to know that they are not alone and that there are people like me who want to walk the path with them and to make the way easier. But also through education, I speak with civic groups, I speak in people's homes, I like to educate people about things they may not know about breast cancer because there is a lot of misinformation. For example, most people don't realize that men do get breast cancer, and because it is not imagined, if men have any kind of irregularity in their chest, the last thing I think of is that they might have breast cancer. Another is women think that if they don't have any of the known risk factors, such as family history, that they don't have to worry about breast cancer, but 70% of the people who are diagnosed have none of those risk factors. So that's part of the way that I do education. In addition to those bits of education that I began to absorb and then share with other people, I also discovered products that either help people with ways of hopefully preventing the development of breast cancer altogether by applying certain botanical treatments or through lymph drainage massage, and then medical devices that help women do breast self-exams with more accuracy. I want to give women and men every advantage in the fight against the disease. One of the first things that I began to figure out through my experience was that my doctor didn't have all the answers. Most of our doctors are surgeons, oncologists, and they may be the top of their field. But because we're dealing with breast cancer, which is such an emotional part of a woman's, not just her life, but her whole identity, the doctors themselves can't be expected to meet all of the needs. People can be destabilized in their emotional health at varying degrees with depression, panic attacks, anxiety, and in my case, even post-traumatic stress disorder. But it can be a blessing in disguise because at some point we're all going to age, we're all going to be imperfect physically, and the sooner we come to terms with our having worth as human beings based on something that is not superficial, the better off we are. But we need each other. We need more than just our doctors. We need a network of support around us with people who will help us to know that this is normal, that if you feel overwhelmed, that's normal. If you feel like you're going crazy, that's normal. So those are some of the important things that I've learned from my experience. I am a woman of faith. I have a strong family of faith. So there's no way that I could have not drawn on that during the second case of breast cancer. But the added benefit of having a deep relationship with God is that there were lessons I could learn. I grew tremendously, and so it became actually a gift in disguise. The cancer was a blessing in disguise because I grew so wonderfully, became a stronger person, a more well-rounded person, because of the lessons I was looking for all the time from my faith. I can't emphasize enough the importance of community in dealing with the whole issue of breast cancer. There's so many ways that community, not just in terms of cities and governments, but just the social network around patients, can make the experience easier for the people who actually have the disease. And then on the individual basis, please follow good breast health practices. The very things that I promote on my website, that I promote in my speaking engagements, I believe in them sincerely. I advocate doing monthly breast exams. I advocate learning how to do breast lymph drainage. I advocate using breast massage and botanical treatments to do whatever we can to prevent the spread of the disease. So there's so many things you can do to be proactive about breast health. I have a website called stayinthepink.com, and I have a contact page there so you can learn a lot about me and the work that I do and my products and everything. I have a resource page. I have what's called the Pink Cafe, where I have a blog and developing a social network. So there's lots of ways to interact with me there. I also have a Facebook page called Stay in the Pink, and I am on Twitter, one of my favorite places to talk to people.
Don't wait until it's too late. Visit stayinthepink.com. While you're there, contact Jamie Inman to learn more about her story.